So we're going to go over how to conjugate ER and IR verbs. So first of all, what you need to have down is the notes. They should be attached. They're called ER and IR verbs. What you'll need to do is just write down beber means to drink, and there will be 15 of them. Okay, and they're called ER and IR verbs because they either end in ER or they end in IR. So make sure you do that first. If you haven't done that, just pause the video and then come back when you're done. So now that you have those taken down, we're going to talk about how we conjugate these. So if you remember from last week, we learned AR verbs, so words that ended in AR. And what we did first, so if I wanted to say I swim, if you remember to swim is nadar. So if we wanted to do I swim, the first step to changing nadar to match I was that we take off the AR, right? So we took off the ending. And so we're going to do the same thing with these, except for instead of taking off AR, this time we're taking off either the ER or the IR, depending on what type of verb it is. So that's step one. And so what that looks like is, let's say, for example, we had the verb beber. Okay, the first step would be to get rid of the ER, and then you would have babe. And then abrir, take off the IR, you'd have abr. Okay, and so on. So that's step one. So once you have that written down, we're going to go on to step two. So step two is you add the ending to match the subject, just like we did last time. So you can see here we have our subjects, I, you informal, he, she, you formal, we, they, and y'all. And so once we've taken off that ending, then we can add our ending to match the subject. So we're going to do some examples together. So write this down and then pause this and then play it again once you have that done. Okay. So we're going to do some practice problems. So number one says we drink. So we're going to write down we, which is nosotros. And then we need to find to drink. So you would go to those ER and IR notes and find to drink, which is beber. You would take off the ending. So you take off your ER. You'd have babe. And then we have to find the ending that matches nosotros, which nosotros is in the top right-hand corner. And we have to choose between EMOS or IMOS. So amos or emos. And so how we choose is that this was beber at one point, but we took off the ER. So if it's an ER verb, we're making this bemos with an EMOS. Number two says they run. So ellos, and then you would find to run in your notes, which is correr. Take off the ER, and then you would find the ending that matches to ellos, which ellos is in the bottom right, so we're choosing EN. Number three, nosotros. And then asistir a is to attend. You have to have both of those words. What you're going to do is take off your IR on asistir. And we're doing nosotros, which is the top right box. And it was an IR verb, so we're choosing IMOS. So asistimos. Number four, she reads, so ella, and then leers, to read. We take off our ER and we add whatever ending matches with ella, which is in the bottom left, and then the bottom left it says you need to add an E. So ella lee. I do not understand. Okay, start with I. Yo. And then do not changes into one small word, no. Understand is comprender. Step one, take off the ER and add your ending to match the subject. And our ending is O to match yo. So yo no comprendo. You all learn. You all is the same thing as y'all, so it's ustedes. Aprender is to learn. So what we need to do is take off our ER and add our ending, which ustedes is in the bottom right. So we need to add EN to the end.